Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to the first roundtable of the semester. My name is Savannah, and I am the producer for the Roxborough House Roundtables at Jefferson East Falls. Each episode is recorded and later posted on our YouTube and SoundCloud for those who were not able to make it to the live event. They are also aired on the first and third Sundays from 7 to 8 a.m. on G-Town Radio 92.5 FM WGGT. For today's roundtable, we're talking about Jefferson beyond medicine and the majors that are rarely acknowledged. Our host, Amy, who majors in law and society, will talk us through the other majors and their impact on students. Well, but first, we'll introduce ourselves. We already got Amy.
I'm Lexi, I'm in the PA major.
I'm Nikita, I'm a law and society major.
I'm Felicia, I'm a law and society major.
I'm Sheldon, I'm a law and society major.
Evan Lane, law and society director.
I'm Eric, in law and society.
I'm Dan, I'm an alumni.
Of?
What is it called now, Jefferson? Philly U.
What major?
Oh, Law and Society.
Okay, now I'll hand it over to Amy.
Hi, thanks for having me. So just to get started, I want to talk about what Jefferson Beyond Medicine is. And it's just a moment for students at Jefferson to come together to discuss the under-recognized majors. Since Jefferson bought Philadelphia University, and especially in recent years, many people outside of Jefferson do not know that the university offers more than just a medical college, but also offers a wonderful community of students within majors of pre-law, architecture, design, and so forth. It's time for us students and even staff members to speak up and make us under-recognized majors become more known in hopes of growth, connection, and a stronger community for now and the future students. So with that said, I want to start off this discussion with what brought you guys to Jefferson?
Like Jefferson in general or like this program?
Just in general.
I got a flyer that waived my application fee and my mother basically forced me to apply. Jefferson wasn't on my radar at all. It's like I hadn't heard of it, especially because it's a smaller school and I'm not from the Philadelphia area, so like it's not a name really outside of here. So they reached out and I was like, might as well. And then Professor Lane sold me on the program.
Same thing actually happened to me. I got an email with a fee waiver. I wasn't going to apply, and I was like, well, if it's free, like, I'll apply. And then I got in, and I actually didn't even come on a tour here. Like, I just applied everywhere pre-law, and I was like, I'll go somewhere. And then I liked the location of this school. I feel like when you, like, say the name Jefferson, like, people think it's, like, decent enough. Like, I don't want to say, like, I don't want to say, but, like, I also, like, didn't want to go to Millersville because it feels like my high school 2.0. So I was like, I guess I'll come here. It's close to Philly, and that seems fun.
Yeah, a lot of people from my high school came to Jefferson, so that put it on my radar. I remember, like, my valedictorian my freshman year came to Jefferson, so I thought I'd look into it. And then after I got accepted, I got an email from Lane inviting me to come to a class. And so I went to, like, a crime and justice class. It was the one where, like, we watched the episode of Black Mirror. And I watched it, and I did, like, the homework that Lane sent me. And I genuinely had, like, so much fun that it made me want to come here.
I started working at the hospital, Jefferson Hospital, Abington, near my house. And then I really liked working in the hospital setting, and they said that it would be pretty beneficial for me to start at the Jefferson School since I would already have the connections in there. So I applied, and then I got into the accelerator program here. So.
Well, I found Jefferson because in high school I was originally going to go in for biology. Then last minute, pretty much, I switched to law and society, and I was just like, the applications are coming up already, I'm just gonna apply. I mean, I looked at schools for biology, I was like, I'll just apply to these same schools, they all have programs, whatever. But then I also got an email from Professor Lane asking, like, offering to sit in on one of the classes, and like, none of these other universities did that for me. They're like, oh my God, sure, why not? And it was also crime and justice, the jury selection class, and I was called up in that activity, and just like being that involved and having no prior knowledge or experience with anything related to a college course. I just felt so motivated to learn, and I could see that the people in that classroom felt the same way and were passionate about what we were talking about. So I said, screw every other university I applied to, and I came here.
That's a good.
You and me?
Yeah, why not?
Well, all right. I actually came here when it was called Philadelphia University before it was Jefferson. I had applied. This was one of the colleges I chose to apply to. Basically, everywhere I applied as a history major, and this was the only school that I applied to for a major other than history. And I love history, but I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do in my life. So I visited, and Lane got my contact info and started calling me about once a month, then about once a week, then about once every day.
No.
And he actually did a very good job of convincing me. It wasn't just bugging me, he was actually talking through pros and cons. So I ended up coming here, and I graduated, and now we're called Jefferson, but I still come back. So
And he's a lawyer. No.
yeah, and then I went to law school out of here. Lane helped me get in, he helped me figure out my life, so.
Well, originally I was looking at colleges from home in New Jersey. I was specifically looking at Stockton and Montclair and Rider, all for psychology, and I did an open house here looking for psychology, and I don't know, you kind of pulled me in and gave me a spiel about what this program was about, and I just kind of fell in love with it, and that after I talked to you, this program became my first choice. Like I knew what I wanted to do.
I'm feeling good. Yeah.
As we can see, Lane did a lot of outreach. Same thing for me. When I applied, I had no intention of applying. I really applied just because my friend told me to check it out. Why not? And then Lane's email of describing what the major was about and how it had different aspects, and it wasn't just like reading out of a textbook. That's what really like brought me to come here, and I felt very drawn to it just from that simple email. And I didn't even tour the school, and I was just like, yep, this is for me. But yeah, did anyone else know when applying to Jefferson that they had other majors besides the medical field?
I knew they had psychology, but that was about it.
I kind of assumed that every college had all of the majors. I don't know what was going through my head when I was in senior year, but I was just like, every college is going to have the major that I want. But, yeah.
I applied specifically for LNS. I didn't know that Jefferson was like a big pre-med or in nursing school and textiles. Like I said, I'd never heard of Jefferson before applying, so I had no clue what the focus was.
I knew it was like good for medical, but like I didn't realize how much it's like primarily focused on it until I like got here. And it was kind of like, oh, and then like now I feel like sometimes when I tell people I go here, they're like, and then I tell them my major, they're like, why'd you go there? I'm like, guys, it's fun, like it's fine, but like it is kind of like, oh, it's kind of like I wish it wasn't always like that conversation.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Like when people ask you what your major is, and then they're like, or no, what school do you go to? Are they like, oh, are you pre-med? Or are you nursing? And then you're like, no, and then you have to go through the explanation. But yeah, it's obviously just an awkward situation when you have to explain yourself why you go to this school when the majority is known for medicine.
Well, it's not going to stop. I have friends that I met when I was in college here. We've hung out every weekend for the last 10, 15 years, and sometimes they'll go, wait, you were a law and society major? I didn't even know we had that there. They've known me since I was a freshman. So it's never going to stop, but you get the word out, and now a whole bunch of people from my grade know about it, so you guys, there's more of you do the same thing.
So with that said, like, you guys don't feel your majors are being represented, are you? Lexi, how about you? Since you're the odd one out here.
Obviously, I have a different experience. A couple of PA students, a couple of medical students, you put a petition together, we get a new building. We get new equipments every year. We're given the best of medical supplies. And I'm not putting down those majors because I'm part of it, and those opportunities, that recognition is what's going to help me move forward in my field. The Jefferson degree is going to help me be the best that I can be in as a physician assistant, or if I want to get my PhD. So I feel like the level of treatment is what sets the students apart rather than the advertisement or recognition of the majors, in my opinion.
Definitely. Do you guys think that the campus could do any contributions besides us, like as students, having to explain ourselves? Because we can all agree the marketing is not very great for everyone else. I mean, you go on TikTok, all you see is Jefferson nursing, Jefferson medicine, Jefferson everything medicine besides anything else. And even when you go onto their mission page, to their Jefferson page, and you read their mission statement, I quote, Thomas Jefferson University is a national leader in professional education, preparing students for the future of work while also engaging in groundbreaking research and creative discovery. When I personally read that, I don't really see anything outside that relates to other majors. When I see groundbreaking research, my immediate thought is research on like medicine, cancer, treatments, not research that could be done like in other areas. So what do you guys feel about that?
Yeah, I think like that makes me want to build off of Lexi's point, because I think like this lack of reflecting of like the more humanities majors that we have here and that we offer here, it's very indicative of that treatment that Lexi was talking about. Like I was looking at the mission statement, Jefferson fosters transdisciplinary collaboration. I feel like I've never really like worked with other students outside of my major, so I really don't think that's present. Like we do like a lot of like health collaborate. Like we have classes that do focus on like health and law, but like it's really not, like I think we could be doing more there. And then like, again, like with the resources that we have, like we have one building as a law and society major, and then like other humanities majors don't even get that much. And like we could be funding like really important research into the humanities, like important governmental research, important just like there's so much history here in Philadelphia, and so much history like especially in this area that Jefferson is located, and like that those like it's all around us, but Jefferson doesn't want to like make the connections for us like humanities majors specifically, so that we can go out there and so that we can do this groundbreaking research that Jefferson is so proud of within medicine. And so it's like really like it really is like indicative of like where we're at in terms of treatment, and the fact that like for all of us it's Lane's personal outreach that brought us here, and it's usually like Lane or like other professors within the College of Humanities who like bring us these opportunities that we are able to like go out and get internships and go out and do like research studies and stuff like that.
I'm curious to see what happens in the next few years. So I work in the admissions department, and I'm now the only person in Law and Society working there, and I have one semester left. And now, whenever there is a Law and Society tour coming in, people text me asking what's an elevator pitch I can give to this student. I was like, okay, well, what about like in a year from now? How will we get that same like direct information to the students? I don't know. And then if you don't have that, and you don't have enough of that knowledge when you're in admissions giving these tours to students, then they'll be like, oh, they don't know anything about this program, therefore is it even that good? I go to another school, I go to Temple, I go to Drexel, Penn, whatever, and I see that they have all these different students who know so much more about this program. And that gives a false view of that those universities are better than we are, but that's not necessarily the case at all. And that's where I think the point was about like university taking more of an initiative, and like, yeah, that's what we need, because again, I'm the only one left now. So, and I know that people like in admissions, like admissions counselors, like can speak to the prospective students about that individually, but I don't know, having some form of outlet where there are people directly involved or working in, sure, law and society, but other programs as well that aren't as well, like engineering, for example, forming that connection so that information can get out to students in a way that shows, hey, we are enthusiastic about what we do good work, it is productive, and it will be so beneficial for your future that you should come here. I think I completely agree with that, something that we need.
Yeah, it's really a shame because when I speak to my other friends for my personal example, for most of us being in law, when they talk about their college courses and what they do, I feel like Jefferson and our professors within the law and society major really give us an advantage in how they teach us and what they teach us, because I really think it's more hands-on. They really give you a very good understanding, and they base things on the truth rather than making fake scenarios to try and explain it to you, and I think that's very important, and it's kind of disappointing that a lot of people don't see that.
Hi, I wanted to make a point to what you were saying before, so I don't know your name, about like the research programs here, because I remember I was looking for a research opportunity with the honors program because they have specific opportunities with them. And I was looking through all the research opportunities and I realized nothing's fashion related or management or design related, which I'm a fashion merchandising and management major. And I realized I can't even access this program that they're offering because they don't have anything that's going to fit my field. And then I saw that throughout the whole of the honors program after. I didn't see like our major represented at all. And I don't really see many of those majors there. They're mostly health majors. And I just didn't feel like represented within that specific program. So I could definitely vouch to like the research fields not being as broad here. So.
Yeah, they definitely have a lot of answers for, again, the medical college, but any other college, they don't have like a direct answer. They're going to say, oh, well, you need to do this, or you have to find out this, or you have to go through this process first, or it's too soon for you to figure out. Like if you want to find an internship in career services, it's a lot harder than anything else.
With research and other like finding internships, I feel like we have to heavily rely on word of mouth and like having connections, which I mean, like, yeah, that's present in like, every job field ever, but I feel like, I don't know, that feels like it's the only option. There's no it feels like, or institutional frameworks are lacking in giving us support to a more direct pathway. I mean, we all know that Jefferson is a very like professional-oriented university. You have degrees that lead you straight to jobs. Law and society falls outside of that because we could go so many different ways. And it feels like we don't have that, those systems to accommodate for that, thus leaving us to rely on that word of mouth and figuring out our own support networks, whether it's professors, maybe someone in career services, could be someone you just randomly talk to in another student life office who has a connection somewhere. And I mean, for research, that's how I found out about like a technical writing research competition. It was like through that word of mouth. It wasn't advertised by the university, but by a professor. That's just a more real world example of that.
Yeah, we have created our own page through Jenna, who's a Law Society student, our own Canvas page. And we have generated our own internships and listing them in the Canvas page. But that's us doing it.
I was gonna say, I gave somebody an internship last summer, I forget Andrew's last name. Becker, but yeah, he went to Villanova and I ended up giving him an internship. And I wasn't really involved, he just goes, hey, do you want an intern? And I said, okay, I checked with Wayne to make sure he was smart, but
Nobody
he
comes.
was. He was, no, it's okay.
Going off of your point about the word of mouth, I think that's prevalent in every program, more so I would even say the medical program, because even though we are such a big program, we're competing with 4 times as many students just within the same school rather than with students coming outside of it. Like, yes, Jefferson will give the students in the school that opportunity, like you're guaranteed an interview or you're guaranteed that seat deposit, but you're still competing with 200 other students in your single major for that one seat deposit or that one interview. So as much as it is a big medical part, us medical students have such a hard time of even just getting a job, even though we're relying on the name of the school itself. So,
Have you guys seen the advertisement on TV?
yeah.
Okay. The advertisement is Jefferson produces healers, designers, and builders. Just want to know what your reaction was to that.
Actually, kind of expanding on that and what Eric was saying, LNS often feels like it exists separate from Jefferson. Like, for a lot of my time here, I haven't felt like a Jefferson student. I felt like a Law and Society student. It's like, yeah, we have our hallmarks, but they're not really connected to the university. I don't feel like real pride for Jefferson. I'm like, heck yeah, I'm a LNS student. I've loved the program with LNS. The hallmarks, they've been whatever. But I haven't been like, man, Jefferson has been great. I've enjoyed my time at Thomas Jefferson University. I've enjoyed my time as a Law and Society student. And I feel like that's one of our biggest issues, especially like you said, the advertising online, or even like the amount of physical advertising this school pays for. It pisses me off because that's our tuition money as Law and Society students, not coming back to us, but going to advertising the healers, the builders, the designers. Like I said, I'm from Western Pennsylvania, so on break I take the Amtrak from 30th Street Station. And when I left, they had this giant banner hanging from the scaffolding in there. I mean, like 30 foot tall, and it has the logo and that exact slogan, and the advertisement for the Sidney Kimmel Medical College, which that also annoys me because that advertising is posted on every single flyer, even here on the undergraduate campus.
Yeah, when you walk around campus and you see the little banners by the light poles, they are all same majors like nursing, pre-med, or engineering, but you never see like architecture or design, or especially us as pre-law students.
We have social science.
Yeah, what is that?
But does that really connect to us like as much like this is LNS? No. But even with what Layton was saying with our ads, like our vision statement is the first words, reimagining health, education and discovering to create unparalleled values. That's it. Just reimagining health, nothing else. And it's just sad because when you go, or because of the name that we have, and like its correlation of only to being the medical college, students don't know, or when they're applying to colleges, that we offer stuff like the 3+3 program with Jefferson. That is not marketed at all, and it really should be marketed, because that is a really good gateway for people to go into their field and have a good path that they think is more guaranteed rather than going in blind.
Yeah, I mean, like, I want to kind of respond to what Lexi said about like having to compete with so many other students, because I've also been thinking about like the way that the way that Jefferson markets itself as an institution. It's like, and obviously, like, I'm going to preface this by saying, like, there's no such thing as an institution that will ever, like, properly advocate for its students. But I wanted to ask, like, do you feel like as someone in the, like, health sciences field, do you feel like Jefferson, like, kind of advocates for you and advocates for your position and, like, out in the world? Because I think, like, for me as a law and society major, like, I don't feel like Jefferson acts as an advocate for for myself to like get into law school or to get like internships or to get jobs. Like Jefferson's not like putting itself in like a, yeah, we have these really great students in these fields type of thing.
I'm gonna say no. Yes, we have that prevalence of, like how you're saying that for those jobs, we have that ability to go to a Jefferson hospital and then be like, hey, I just graduated here, this is my major. You'll get an eyebrow and you'll be like, oh, that's nice, and you won't hear back. There is such a prevalence in my major of self-reliance, of you go out independently, you find your job, you get your hours. There's no aid in that. It's the expectation that we do it ourselves, and they'll just push you through to the next part. So that's why it's such a cutthroat world, in especially in my program, PA, because we have two programs. We have a 4+2, and a 3+2, and you're competing with all of them to get that one spot into the graduate program, and there is no aid in getting your patient contact hours, in getting your reference letters, in getting a job or any type of clinical experience, even at the hospital. Like the hospital that I worked at in high school, I had to quit that job because my academics took precedence. So in my case, there is no advocacy for us to move forward in the job field, rather than just pushing us to the graduate program and then seeing whether we fail or not. It's a weed out course, in my opinion.
Nicole, how about you, since you're the finance major here? How do you feel? I'm gonna mainly talk about the internship stuff because I was trying to get an internship as early as possible, especially because I heard from many people how hard it is to get an internship with the job market, and like everybody's fighting for an internship. And so I was like, the earlier I get it done, the easier it'll be to get my next one, because the first one's always the hardest. And I went to career services and they were like, you gotta wait till the end of your sophomore year. You can't do anything about it. And to me, that was actually kind of shocking. I was not expecting that.
So with this roundtable in mind, I conducted a survey, and I was able to get 53 responses in a short amount of time with a wide range of different majors, including the health science majors in the medical college. And 64% said that their majors are not accurately represented, and 35% said that their majors are represented. But of those 35%, the majority was medical students. And our overall rating of Jefferson's media representation with all students combined is a 2 out of 5. That's sad. That's disappointing, considering like the amount of resources they have as a university. They should be able to have marketing for more than just one specific major. Especially with the merger with Philadelphia University, whatever Philadelphia University was known for, that completely got lost. And everything is now known as Jefferson, the med school.
That's exactly, I was just interested you had us,
Are
both of you, yeah,
passionate.
go ahead.
And it's not necessarily like embarrassing when you go to like other companies and see alumni, but they are very feeling you proud. Like they will rep their school like through and through. They're like, I was there before the merger. I'm very proud of that school and what it stood for, because they had a very strong base of like what they were known for. And it's different seeing that now, because I feel like I won't have that at all when I graduate. I won't be able to be like, oh, I was from this school, like that's what we stood for. And it's just kind of disappointing that I can't relate to alumni in that way when I see that out in the field, because I've been to many company visits and it's happened through and through with all the companies with the merger, but I'm sure those will speak to it as well.
It's a shame because we're one of, I think, like 3 or 4 fashion schools like in the whole tri-state area, probably like the whole Northeast. And a lot of people choose other schools like Drexel, like they go to New York. From the beginning to like sophomore year, half of my major like switched schools or dropped out because they also felt like our program wasn't giving them enough opportunity. It was very like one
one way, like you're just going to corporate and this is just like, they're kind of just like hitting the marks that they need to hit in the program rather than giving people more opportunity to expand. And also like the pride thing, like I personally don't even buy Jefferson merch because then I go and it's like, oh, it's the hospital, oh, you're a nurse. Like a lot of people really don't associate Jefferson with anything other than medicine, and you see that when you go to move forward to get a job too. It's not as recognized as a fashion school or as any of the other programs.
And it's sad because people ask you, why did you go there? Why?
That's
You should
something.
be medicine.
I mean, when I went here, it was still Philly U. Fashion and architecture were the big things on campus. And so that's kind of upsetting to hear that it sounds like maybe they've gone back or doing marketing. Because like what you guys said with the school pride, we all still have Philly U stuff. We all still wear, I mean, we still call it Philly U, and that's not the real name anymore. So
I call it Philly U, and I only buy the Philly U merch.
wear that to the,
Yeah, honestly.
we'll like to say it.
Yeah, I think that, like, this is really important to the point of like Jefferson being an advocate for students, because like ever since the merger, like you can kind of see our buildings are falling apart, like, and it's really funny because we have like some of the best architecture and fashion programs in the country, and like now it's kind of like those resources aren't really there anymore. Like I have friends who are in the architecture major, and it's like they have an incredible program, but it's like nobody really knows about it unless you're like looking for it specifically. So I just think it's like, yeah, I just think it's really, really interesting, especially the way that Jefferson posits itself as like a professional development school. Like Philly U had that culture of like that pride, and I know a few people who were like alumni of Philly U, but like now it's like we're just in and out. Like we don't really like have that sort of like student community. Like that's not really fostered here because like as a result. And I don't know like if at Philly U like there was like a whole ton of like student life, and like a lot of people like were like getting together and like bringing forth like this type of culture, but like you can kind of see like here like everyone's just rushing from one place to the next.
To that point, I've seen a lot of people complain, like on the different forums, like the app we have, Fizz, which is like a social media app, I think, that like you can sign up with your student email, but a lot of people have said like after your freshman year, it is next to impossible to make new friends. Because like you said, everyone's in their silos, everyone's doing their major and going home, and like there's no other places that we can really connect. Like there's no true student forums, there's no, like our on-campus activities by and large are kind of all right at best. And I mean, we do have like different clubs, and they are like they have their own little communities, but there's no real like interconnection, and I feel like that kind of kills the student experience.
Yeah, I think it's difficult. As someone who does some of the planning for these like student events on campus, it's difficult to get people to come to things, and I think part of that is how the school is advertising itself as a like professions, sort of you're coming for a major in a profession, so it's not necessarily suited for like what we typically imagine the college experience to be like, making friends, meeting people. Like it's very much posited as networking, so it feels like a little less genuine, and it's harder to get people to go to like things just for the fun of it, I guess, for the sake of it. And I think also it reflects in not only how the students conduct themselves, but how people in administrative positions conduct themselves. You see constantly that offices are like missing people, moving people around. Like people don't tend to stay here for too long, from what I gather, since Jefferson became Jefferson, right? And I don't know if that was like the same from like Philly U, but I feel like professors and administrative people from that era are still around, while people from post like Jefferson acquisition tend to shuffle around.
I wonder how many of the issues that we suffer stem from the kind of like corporatized environment that Jefferson brings. Because from what I'm hearing, Philly U sounds like it was really community oriented. And as I'm sure we've all noticed, Jefferson is really corporate, for lack of a better term. Because I just feel like that's how the medical industry is. It's really corporatized, and I feel like that kind of vibe has been passed down to the students.
Yeah, and I think it reflects in what we are able to do on campus. You know, there's so much like paperwork and permissions you need to get to do stuff. We have contracts with people, so we can't bring like a food truck to campus. You know, it's all these things that are like, it's very corporatized, as you're saying. So it's very difficult to do like bigger things, fun things that might attract more attention. And it's always like, even if you try to get that, well, students don't even come to your smaller events. It's always the sort of put down. So
It's very bureaucratic.
absolutely.
What could be done to make a more community? What could be done to rebuild the fashion reputation that we once had here? What could be done to make law in society when people see advertisements saying that this is part of the university and part of what we do? That we have extremely good health majors. That also means we have other extremely good other majors. The thing I've always heard from, and I've brought this to the attention of many people already, well, we can't mention every major in the advertisement. It will go on and on forever. My answer to that is when you mention 3 areas and don't say anything else, what you're saying is, this is all we sell. And we don't sell anything else. So what can be done to capitalize on our good reputation as a health university, but also to make other majors like fashion, like law and society, like finance, like psychology, that we also have excellent professors here and we have excellent programs, instead of it being a secret. So what would you suggest?
Their ads. Or they don't have to specifically say like we have this major, that major, but even just within the ads, they can just put like that we, for example, they can put an architecture student working. They can put the Arlen Specter Center, for example, showing that, oh, this is our pre-law students. It's these little things just to get an image out that will make people more curious to want to learn more rather than just to be one thing and then believe that's the only thing.
I would also say like statistics. Well, personally, a lot of my classes are in Tubman, and when you go there, it's like there's like statistics on the TV of like 96% of graduates graduated, or like put those kind of statistics out, or like how many students are business majors, so that people have an idea of like, oh, it's not only medical students, like there's business majors here, there's psychology majors.
Yeah, I think the marketing is really important, but personally I think like even more important is investing into these programs and investing into the students themselves, because I think like we have a lot of students who like make it really big in their fields, but they're not proud of having come from here. Like they're like very much so like for me personally, like people ask me, do I like Jefferson, and like my first response is like, it's too expensive and I don't have like funding for the things that I want to do. Which is like it's really funny because we pay all of this money, and Jefferson is a really expensive school, but we don't see any of that money coming back into us as students. And so like that could be like a really, really important thing for us to be able to have this money, not just the money itself, but like the materials, the outreach that Jefferson does itself on behalf of us as students. Like that would be really, like, I don't know the word, like but like really monumental to like further us in our careers and in our lives, so that like we can kind of be like, yes, I was proud that I went to Jefferson, and it really helped me further myself and establish myself in my field.
That point in particular is why I'm so disenfranchised with Jefferson as an institution, especially because like I feel like our tuition money, law and society and our other humanities in particular, it only goes to the advertising, because we see no real material returns. Like the medical and design programs, they have like the nice design spaces or like the medical equipment and all like the fancy new tech, and we have a colonial era building that is not falling apart anymore, but not in a great condition. Like I would love to see more additions to like the library or subscriptions to different like online services like LexisNexis, or yeah, that's the right order. Like stuff like that where like we don't see the reinvestment into our programs. And that's what really annoys me, because I feel like the other programs, like their money goes back into them, and like I would even be not happy, but okay if there was more advertising for the humanities, like to get more people here and help our program. But there's no material return for our money, I feel like.
Especially through their Instagram, when you go on it, you don't see anything about majors. If you do see something, it's like graduated medical students or just individuals like having a celebration that they graduated. You don't really see like, oh, Jefferson University, they have this, they have that. All you see is just alumni from the medical schools, and that's really unfortunate.
I think like looking at the community on campus as well, like within the majors and the resources, like as a fashion merchandising major, we aren't design or business schools, so we are not allowed to use the sewing machines or be in that whole design center that the fashion design is. We can't use any of their fabric scraps or any of that because we're business students. But if it was more of like a collaboration, like working together, because in the real world, fashion merchandising and designers work hand in hand, but at this school we do not work at all. I don't even see them on campus. And I just feel like there's a lot of opportunities for even like us to collaborate with architecture or other business majors like finance. I feel like there's a great opportunity at this school because we offer so many different things. If we had collaborative projects, classes, stuff like that, it's just very much like hitting the marks for your major and then just sending you off to some corporate job instead of expanding different things that students could do.
And I think that's really interesting because a large part of their advertisement is always like, this student from X major is like doing something different and quirky and collaborating in this field. All right, it's always like they're always advertising some sort of blend, but it's really interesting to hear that you're not seeing that blend in like two majors that are very closely tied together. Like, to be honest, I didn't know there was much of a difference between y'all two.
Yeah.
So to hear that and to be like, well, you guys are just like segregated and only considered business like majors is pretty interesting. But I think to your point, a lot of what happens on campus really comes from what people do on the ground. You're never going to get people from like the administration necessarily like creating these spaces. They always ask that students create it. Is that an undue burden? Probably. But I think that from where we are currently, the only way that we're going to really foster that sort of community, that togetherness, that collaboration is if we do the legwork. And that comes with talking to people from different majors. That comes from creating events and just doing interesting things. But it really has to be pioneered from the student perspective, as we're currently seeing, because we're not getting anything else.
I tried to create that space. I created a club that's open. It's fashion designers working with merchandisers, marketing, the other majors. And the first semester there was a lot of participation. I think we started it 1 year ago. And as the semesters go, it just like people just drop and there's less of an interest. We even have like photography. There's photography at the school and there's no like interest. I tried to reach out to like photography professors, people that are teaching the class, graphic designers, and like there's not much of like a word out with that. we even collaborated with Temple at one point, and like that just kind of like died out because Temple didn't have much of an interest to work with us anymore. They started reaching out to other schools, they're collaborating with Depop, stuff like that. And I feel like we're not even able to do that because we have so many boundaries we have to go through.
I think the only program that we really have that combines the fashion design majors and the FMM majors is the fashion immersion program, which I feel like many people don't know about. It's a program that takes you to New York and you work with a designer to create a program with fashion design majors and FMM majors combining together on it. And it's difficult to balance the project, I feel like. Like there's a power balance in the project that like the program definitely needs to like work out, but I feel like that would be a great opportunity to demonstrate that these majors can work together more in the future. And maybe in advertising, like that program is never advertised. It's like only something you hear about if you're in those specific programs. Many people don't know about them. So it's a big like extra program that we offer, even like something similar-ish to study abroad, but it's not really talked about all that much, so.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you guys for coming, and hopefully we can see some progress in the future. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you all so much for coming in and talking about Jefferson Beyond Medicine. It's so important for us to keep talking about these topics to change societies and our college's normal and to further inform and educate others about it. Thank you to Amy for hosting this roundtable. And again, we post our roundtables on our YouTube and SoundCloud, and we are broadcasted on the first and third Sundays of each month from 7 to 8 a.m. on G-Town Radio 92.5 FM WGGT. Thank you for listening and have a great day.